Here's something no one tells you about toxic people. They don't leave when you confront them. They don't leave when you cry. They don't even leave when you beg. They leave when you become impossible to manipulate. And that terrifies them, because their entire game depends on your reaction, your anger, your tears, your explanations. The moment you stop giving them what they need, you become a locked door with no keyhole. And locked doors drive manipulators insane. Today, I'm going to show you 8 silent behaviors that make toxic people genuinely afraid of you. Not loud confrontations, not dramatic exits. Silent shifts that strip away their power without saying a word. By the end of this video, some people in your life will start to feel uncomfortable around you. Good. That discomfort is the sound of their control slipping. Let's begin. 1. You forgive without restoring access. This one breaks their brain. You're not holding a grudge. You're not bitter. You're not plotting revenge. You simply don't let them back in. Think of your trust like a building. They damaged a floor. You repaired it. But their key card no longer works. Here's what most people don't understand about forgiveness. Forgiveness is for you. Access is a privilege. You can release the anger without reopening the door. They expect one of 2 things from you: rage or reconciliation. Rage gives them ammunition. See? They're the crazy one. Reconciliation gives them another chance to hurt you. You give them neither. You say, "I understand, I've moved on." And then the door stays closed. This drives them mad because they can't categorize you. You're not an enemy they can fight. You're not a friend they can use. You're simply unavailable. And unavailable is the one thing a toxic person cannot tolerate. They'll test this. They'll reach out with apologies, with nostalgia, with emergencies. Each time, you respond with warmth, but without entry. I wish you well. Take care. Watch how quickly warmth without access makes them move on. 2. You become selectively mysterious. Here's a truth that took me years to learn. Every piece of information you share is a weapon you hand to someone else. Your fears, your insecurities, your dreams, your problems. In the wrong hands, these become tools of control. Toxic people are information hunters. They ask innocent questions, file away your answers, and use them later when you least expect it. Remember that time you mentioned feeling insecure about your career? They'll bring it up at dinner parties. Remember when you shared your fear of abandonment? They'll threaten to leave during arguments. Information is leverage, and you've been giving it away for free. So, you stop feeding the archive. When they ask, "What's going on with you lately?" you smile and say, "Nothing much, same old." When they dig deeper, you redirect. "Enough about me. How are things with you?" You become a closed blueprint. They used to read you like an open floor plan. Now they walk into fog. And here's what happens next. They start guessing, testing, probing, and every wrong guess reminds them. They've lost access to your inner architecture. That loss of insight is terrifying to someone who built their power on knowing your weak points. 3. You respond without reacting. There's a difference, and it's everything. A reaction is emotional, automatic, unconscious. A response is chosen, measured, deliberate. When they throw a subtle insult disguised as a joke, they're waiting for your face to change, your voice to tighten, your energy to shift. That's their reward. They said that thing about your weight to watch you flinch. They mentioned your ex to see your jaw clench. They questioned your intelligence to watch you scramble to prove yourself. Your emotional reaction is their entertainment, their validation, their power. Instead, you give them nothing. Neutral face, calm voice, maybe a slow blink. Interesting perspective. Then you continue as if nothing happened. It's like they threw a match into a room expecting an explosion, and the match just went out. No fire, no smoke, nothing to work with. This is called emotional non-reactivity, and it's one of the most powerful psychological shields you can build. Because when your emotions are no longer available for harvest, you become useless to an emotional vampire. They'll escalate at first, push harder, say worse things, stay the course. Eventually, they realize the well is dry, and they'll go find someone who still feeds them. 4. You enforce boundaries without explaining them. Most people set boundaries wrong. They announce them, justify them, argue about them, and in doing so, they turn boundaries into negotiations. Here's the architect's approach. State the boundary once, clearly, without emotion. I don't discuss my finances. I'm not available after 9 p.m. That topic is off limits. When they push back, and they will push back, you don't explain. You don't defend. You simply repeat. or you remove yourself. A boundary without enforcement is just a suggestion. And toxic people treat suggestions like invitations to test you. But when you enforce without drama, something shifts. They realize you're not negotiable. Your self-respect isn't up for debate. And people who can't negotiate with you eventually stop trying. They go find someone softer. 5. You stop chasing their approval. This is where their deepest power lives. Toxic people train you to need their validation. Their opinion becomes your compass. Their mood becomes your weather. Breaking this is like pulling out the foundation of their control. When they criticize your choices, you don't defend. Why did you do that? Because I wanted to. But don't you think, I'm comfortable with my decision. No essay, no justification. No seeking their understanding. That phrase, because I wanted to, is a complete sentence. It tells them your internal compass is no longer calibrated to their frequency. And when you no longer orbit around their opinion, they lose gravitational pull. You become a satellite that broke free. And there's nothing more unsettling to a controller than someone who simply stopped caring what they think. 6. You observe their tactics without playing along. This is quiet devastation. You see the guilt trip forming. You recognize the gaslighting. You notice the victim performance. And instead of calling it out or falling for it, you just watch. A slight nod, a calm, I see. Maybe even a small, knowing smile. You don't engage. You don't argue. You don't explain why they're wrong. You simply observe like an architect reviewing a flawed blueprint. And they feel it. They feel seen, exposed, transparent. It's deeply uncomfortable to run a manipulation on someone who clearly recognizes every move. The game only works when the other person doesn't know they're playing. Once they realize you see the whole board, the fun drains out of it. Most will quietly fold and try to find an easier target. 7. You exit without performance. No dramatic speeches. No door slamming. No I'm done with you forever declarations. When a conversation turns toxic, you simply say, I'm not going to continue this. And you leave, physically or emotionally. You hang up. You walk away. You stop responding. No explosion. No material for them to twist into their victim narrative. Just absence. And here's why this is so powerful. They need drama to weaponize. Your outburst becomes, see how aggressive they are. Your tears become, see how emotional they are. Your silence becomes, nothing they can use. You become a story they can't tell. And in a world where toxic people survive by controlling the narrative, a person who gives them no narrative is their worst nightmare. 8. You become predictably devoted to your own peace. This is the final behavior, the one that makes them truly disappear. You may be mysterious in your thoughts, but you become utterly predictable in one thing. You always choose yourself. Your boundaries don't waver based on their mood. Your self-respect doesn't negotiate based on their pressure. Your peace is non-negotiable, every single time. Not sometimes, not when you're feeling strong, not when you have support, every single time. This consistency is what finally breaks them. Because manipulation requires unpredictability. It requires finding the crack, the weak moment, the right approach. They study you like architects study buildings, looking for the structural weakness, the load-bearing wall that might crack under pressure. But when every approach meets the same immovable wall, they realize something devastating. There is no way in. You are a fortress. Not aggressive, not hostile, just protected. You've become a building they cannot enter, a code they cannot crack, a game they cannot win. And so they fade, not with a dramatic exit. They just stop calling, stop testing, stop checking. One day, you realize you haven't heard from them in months. That's how you know it worked. That's the architecture of psychological freedom. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. You don't scare toxic people by being louder than them. You scare them by being unavailable to their games. Your silence isn't weakness. It's self-respect with structure. It's boundaries with foundations. It's peace with walls. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 8 behaviors have you already built into your life? And which one are you going to start constructing today? Drop your number in the comments. Let's see which silent strength is rising in this community. If this blueprint spoke to something in you, leave a like so others can find it. Subscribe if you want more strategies for the quiet ones who refuse to stay powerless. And remember, you don't need to be the loudest voice in the room. You just need to be the one no one can break. Build your life silently.